Hey guys, welcome to WDWNT Nerd Alert. I'm your host, Hogarty, and joining me tonight is Jack McCarthy.
Howdy, folks.
So tonight what we'll be doing is we'll be continuing the Marvel DC March Madness, and this is kind of, I have it as round two, but it's basically round one, part two, because we have 64 in total. We did the first 32 last week. We're going to do the next 32 this week, and we're also going to get to the wild card, which were 4 superheroes that tied last time around, and we're going to declare one winner from that group. That'll move on to the finals.
Just also keep in mind that we just threw a whole bunch of heroes together and made these brackets up. So if one of your favorites isn't in there, it's not because we don't think it might be a good character. It's just he didn't come out in the mix.
Well, part of it too is we didn't want to put too many overpowered characters. Like I had put today, I spoke to Jack about putting in Spectre, and he is pretty powerful, and Jack kind of confirmed, yeah, we're better off without him, put somebody else in.
Can't beat the hand of God.
No. And I noticed you didn't put Galactus in either.
No, that it's just, where's the fun in that?
Yeah, I think previous March Madness that we did, we had a lot of overpowered superheroes, and I think that this is a little more fair. So anyway, so we're also going to review WandaVision since it's over now. And we're also going to answer some listener email. No news tonight, but we'll get back to that eventually. Trying to get through this quick because we got a lot of stuff to do. All right, so Jack, let's get to it. First, let's go WandaVision. So what did you think as the series as a whole?
The series as a whole, I would give it, I think the last one I gave it was like a solid 8, and I'll stick with that. It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. I didn't know where it was going for a great bit of it, which is good because I wanted to be surprised. So it wasn't overly predictable. I liked how they've basically found a way to bring the Vision back to the MCU. Mm-hmm. So it should be interesting to see what happens. I think in the comics that, and we even saw in Age of Ultron too, that the Vision can kind of change his appearance at will. You know, like how he grew the cape and turned it red and changed different things. So the white ghostly Vision may just be temporary. He can decide to go back to his memories and decide, okay, I need a little color. And we'll see the red. I hope when he comes back, they bring him a little bit more colorful.
Why, you like that costume? I love that costume.
No, I think the costume looks good, but it's a little too dark. It needs to be brightened up a little bit.
No, remember, I'm talking about like, the white one.
The white one, it's too plain.
I always liked that one. I thought it was kind of cool.
I think it looks better on the comic page than it does in person. He looks a little too creepy, I think. But I mean, we'll see where they go with it. But when he does decide to have his color back, I hope he's like a little brighter, that the colors aren't as muted. Like he's red. I want to see red. I want to see, green, not olive, in his costume. So I hope they just brighten him up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a weird choice.
Wanda's costume, I thought, looked terrific.
Yeah, it did look pretty good. I was shocked that she got one.
It looks good that she has a proper Scarlet Witch. I even kind of like the little headdress thing.
You did or you didn't?
I did. Like,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool how it like manifests.
Yeah.
It's not something she just puts on. It sort of manifests when she goes into a certain power mode.
I think it should be a little bigger. I'm just being nitpicky.
Maybe a little bit bigger, but we'll see where it goes with it. I mean, as her power grows, so might her.
See, my big complaint is that should have been there in Ultron. I mean, we should have seen her dressed like that in Ultron. They should have called her Scarlet Witch in Ultron. That they had to wait so long to introduce her as Scarlet Witch and give her a costume was just ridiculous. And that's like one of the big problems, other than the casting of Elizabeth Olsen. I was never a fan of her cast as Scarlet Witch. She needs
Did this
a
change your
costume.
mind at least?
No, it didn't.
Really? Now, I really thought she has started to shine in the role. I mean, probably because it focused, this is WandaVision, focused more on her. I thought she did very well.
She did okay, but I still think she's overrated as an actress, and I think they could have gotten someone better. To me, she just doesn't scream Scarlet Witch. I think she's a little plain, and I think Scarlet Witch needs to be, very attractive. And not that I'm ragging on her. I guess I am a little bit.
You kind of are.
Yeah, I am. But yeah, I think they could have chose a better actress, and that too, actress, someone that can perform their acting duties a little better. I don't think she's that good.
Well, I mean, I thought she was much better in WandaVision than anything we've seen in MCU movies. Well, once again, it's a television show. And it's really about her, so she's a lot more time to explore and show depth.
I thought she was good.
Character. I thought she did very well.
I thought she was good in Infinity War. I think she had more of a role in that one.
Yeah, but still, like I said, I thought she did a very good job. I enjoyed it. I liked where it went. I liked the questions it left open. So we'll see where it goes. And who knows?
Well, like I told you, I didn't like the first 3 episodes at all. I thought they were a waste. They could have been merged into one. I thought the show overall was just weird. It was not what I was expecting. I kind of would rather have seen them go on an excursion together. I know I've said this before, and I never got why Vision fell in love with Wanda. It just seemed a little too forced. I thought he was great in Ultron, but let me explain.
I think this really explored their relationship
a little bit,
very well. Like I said, we were coming from 2 different directions with it. I liked that they spent a lot of time in those little moments, so you got to see.
I'm glad we got to see that. Yeah, I agree, and I'm glad we got to see too, like her younger self with her family when that whole thing happened. I'm glad that they included that. I didn't even think about that they would do something like that, but I thought that was kind of cool. But I just think that, for me, I would have liked to see them go on an excursion, just Vision and Wanda, and maybe they fell in love too soon, or Vision did. He always seems like a puppy dog after Ultron, like that he's drawn to Wanda, and I just don't get it. Like I could see like if the Avengers sent them on a mission together, and like say like they went to some town and the locals had a problem with Vision, and Vision was maybe in his programming he couldn't hurt humans, and they were just harassing him and all that stuff, and she stood up for him. I could see him kind of maybe having feelings. It's like, well, why would she stand up for me when I'm not really human, truly human? She must be an exceptional human being. Something like that, to go from Ultron to making paprika spaghetti, whatever the hell he was making for her in Civil War. I just felt he was very soft, and I didn't like the relationship at all. I still don't. It's very, very weak to me. He's just there to basically be there for Wanda, and he's not his own self, which really has always bothered me in the movies after Ultron. Loved him in Ultron, thought he was great in that. I like the battles. I like the battle with Scarlet Witch and Agatha in the last episode. I liked, Vision kind of had a bit of a battle with White Vision. And
I liked how they resolved that too. They had all the action up front, and then it was, wait a minute, let's take a break here and think about what we're doing. And how they kind of logically picked it apart. So I thought that was a good way to do it, rather than just have them, just pound on each other for an hour.
And it kind of reminds me too, like Big Hero 6, like what happened with Baymax at the end, where he kind of sacrificed himself, but he left his memory chip or his memory card, to
Mhm.
I can't think of his name. I'm talking about the kid.
The kid, I know. Yeah.
And then he basically created another Baymax. I think that's kind of what happened with Vision
Well,
and the
that,
White Vision.
yeah, and that the fact that, like I said, here it is, they restored the Vision in that scene where the memories came back, where the Vision has those memories. It's interesting to see what they do with it, because it's sort of like when we talked about Captain Marvel in the comics, how she she was comatose, and even when she had her memories restored, she had the knowledge of those memories, but she didn't have the emotional connection to them. Now, is that the same for a synthesoid? I don't know. We'll have to see what the rules are for that in the MCU.
Hopefully he's less soft. And who
Mhm.
knows if he'll even be back, but I think that they kind of leave it open that he could be back.
I think he'll be back.
So maybe we'll see him in Doctor Strange. I don't know.
And you see, that's where I think it is. I think they keep saying how this little Madness in a Multiverse saga is supposed to be 3 parts. From how we saw WandaVision end, I could see that going right into Doctor Strange. I don't see where Spider-Man comes into play with that.
Yeah, we still don't know what's going on with Spider-Man. I mean, they can just open up the multiverse for Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. It could be completely different from the whole multiverse that we're going to see.
Right. It doesn't have to be
in the
Wanda
MCU.
related.
Yeah. But I don't know. I still feel overall I was disappointed in the series. First of all, I think it was too long. It was 9 episodes, and I think that they could have cut out 3 or 4 episodes.
The first 3 is what you would like.
No, also the part where Agatha reveals herself, and then the following episode, I think that could have been 1 episode instead of stretching it out to 2.
Yeah,
also,
but there was a lot of interesting stuff in that.
For some.
Okay.
But my question to you is, like, again, when they did that whole Agatha was behind it all, was she? I still don't get that. How was she behind it?
Well, I think that when Wanda created that bubble, that Agatha was in there, and I think because of Agatha's powers, she was still able to keep herself aware versus falling into the same sort of roles that everybody else in Westview did. So she got to keep her consciousness as she's watching all this go on.
I get that, but I don't see how she's behind it all. It's Wanda.
No, she's not. She's not behind it all, but
it was Agatha all along. Is that what it was?
Oh, well, that's a catchy song. Still,
yeah, I know, but they're trying to imply that basically Wanda wasn't the bad person; it was Agatha, and I'm like, yeah, I don't get that.
Well, Agatha was not a good person, but I think what she was doing was Wanda had created a safe little bubble, and all the little kinks that started going on was Agatha tampering with it to see how far Wanda could be pushed, to see if Wanda would be able to release the chaos magic, which is, I guess, where her powers are deriving from versus a mutant ability. I don't know. So Agatha was the one who started messing things up to get Wanda to eventually break like she did. So that's what Agatha was. It was Agatha all along. Otherwise, Wanda would have kept everything self-contained in that 1950s bubble.
I don't know. Do you think, why the hell did they have to change a Quicksilver, to him being an actor named Ralph? Did that make any sense?
I don't know. I also think it's just to, give the fans a little bit of a monkey wrench in things that were like, they were like, let's, you know what? Everybody thought he was great in the X-Men. Let's bring him in and just screw with all the fans who are going to make up theories and just kind of work it from every angle when we're not going to have to be really much of anything. So I think he was thrown in there as like a super red herring.
That's just it, though. That's my problem too. Is I think that what they did is they focused a lot on Easter eggs and how it would relate to, you know, comic book fans and everything. And I think that that's a way, you know, it's kind of manipulating them, that instead of having a good story, that all of a sudden, you know, you say, oh, wow, it's Quicksilver, but it's from the Fox X-Men Quicksilver. It's not like Petro from Ultron and all that. And just a, you know, a bunch of other Easter eggs, which I didn't really pay attention to. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I watched the show, but most of the times I wasn't paying attention. I was working on the podcast.
Well, like, you know, it reminds me a lot of what Star Wars did with Snoke. Remember all the wild theories people were making up, that was Snoke really Plagueis come back, or was he even Mace Windu? And fans were working it and trying to figure it out all they could. And honestly, when it came down to it, Snoke was just a clone puppet for Palpatine. It's stuff like that. Half the fun is making up these crazy theories.
Yeah, I agree, it is, but
you know, so, and once again, they did the same thing by putting Pietro in there.
yeah, but it
you know,
it just wasn't fulfilling.
or a cast member change. You know, as Darcy put it.
I want to hate Darcy.
I know you hate Darcy, but
I mean,
like
come
her.
on. You know, she had to like run in with that ice cream truck into the head of sword and all that. That's the thing, and I said it before. It just kind of bothers me that like the woke Three Stooges are always right. They're never wrong. You know, they always succeed. You know, against unimaginable odds, against the military. Darcy punches out the strongman in the circus. It just annoys the hell out of me.
But
you know,
was it really a strong man, or he was just an actor playing the part?
Whatever. It's still, I'm sure she never punched anybody in her life. You know, it just irritates me that they're basically
little gal like Darcy. I bet
I hope we never see her again, but I'm sure we won't. That was like the worst thing that they could have done, was brought her back. Well, we're getting War Machine too with Don
Oh,
Cheadle.
come on. It's not the worst thing they could have done.
What, Darcy
could have had
or
George
Don
Clooney
Cheadle?
come in to play Nick Fury, you know. That would be better than having Darcy back?
It could be interesting.
Oh
yeah, no, I would rather see Clooney play Fury for that particular episode than have Darcy come back. No, I couldn't stand her. Her voice is irritating. She was always right. She hated everybody in Sword except for Monica and Wu. I just couldn't stand her. I just
okay, Joe. It's all right. It's over. It's all over.
Yeah, it's all over. Thank God.
And
And that's
go back and watch.
I am so happy that this is Thursday night and I don't have to watch another episode tomorrow.
See, so you don't have to work. It's okay, Joe.
It is. It's all okay.
The sun's going down.
Shut up. Yeah, but I did get several emails from people saying that they weren't happy with the conclusion, and they felt like it kind of went downhill at times, you know, throughout the series. And Mandy actually emailed me, and she said that the one thing that she didn't like is that it felt like you had to have a degree in Marvel history in order to enjoy it, where other movies in the MCU, you could just watch them and have a good time.
Now, you see, I don't think that's as much of the case. I think the MCU is starting to become a victim of its own success. I think there's just it's getting to the point where to really enjoy a lot of this stuff, you have to be caught up on everything else that has come before. Not the comics, but the movies, the series, you need to know about those to kind of get a lot of the connections. So I think maybe in phase 4, Marvel has to kind of take a step back and not rely so much on continuity. Just sort of handle it like, yeah, these things might have happened, but don't address them too much or don't rely on them for a plot point. Like, if it's the same thing, like if Doctor Strange 2 references Doctor Strange 1, that's good. But if Doctor Strange 2 references what happened in Endgame or Infinity War, it shouldn't spread out. The continuity should be kind of kept within that character's franchise.
That
If you
reminds
kind of
me.
get what I'm saying, like, only
Yeah.
because like I watched it and I caught different clues. Once again, they've said that that book was the Darkhold. However, you know, I had watched a season of S.H.I.E.L.D. where the Darkhold looked totally different. So, like I said, that kind of like, I didn't think it was the Darkhold, but as they said, somebody said, oh, it appears differently to different people at different times. Okay, you know, because you know, comic books, you can accept that. You know,
I was going to mention.
Now it's the MCU. We can accept that.
I was going to mention, you know, an example would be Infinity War. Like people went to go see that, and they didn't have to have any knowledge of the previous Marvel films. They could still watch it and have a good time. No, I see your face.
Yeah.
No, they could. It was a good movie. It was a good, fun movie. But with Endgame, you did have to have knowledge, not only of Infinity War, but
Right.
a lot of the previous movies too. And that's why I like Infinity War much better, is that it stands on its own, where Endgame, it relies on the whole series in order to be good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going for. I hope like here it is, it's WandaVision. Not everybody has Disney Plus. You know, a lot of people, you know, it's like, hey, I've got Amazon or I've got Hulu. I'm not going to buy Disney Plus as well. If the movies start now to relate back to Infinity Plus too much, there are people who are going to watch the movie and like, I don't get it. What's going on? Who's this? You
Infinity
know,
Plus? Or you mean Disney Plus
Disney
or Infinity
Plus.
War? Okay.
Disney Plus. But it's sort of like, you know, people might not get to it, or now the movie has to explain what's going on, what happened in WandaVision, which eats up screen time because inevitably it's going to end up in like an info dump.
Well, that's what was good about this, is that I didn't want anything major to happen where, again, you had to rely on the series to enjoy Doctor Strange or any of the other future movies, because nothing major did happen. It was kind of like a little story within Wanda's mind, basically.
Well, the way it ended left a major impact. That now you have one of the most dangerous artifacts in the Marvel universe in the hands of someone who's psychologically broken, and she's in a bad way, and she's got enough power to really break things. So it kind of did make a big influence at the end, because where it left Wanda in that cabin is not a good way.
That's a good point.
They never
I didn't really
it
think
again,
about that. Yeah.
huh?
I didn't think about that, but yeah, you're right.
If they never address that again, people are always, whenever something happens with Doctor Strange or anything magical, they're going to be, was Wanda back in Ed Norton's cabin or something? You know.
Ed Norton?
Yeah, from The Incredible Hulk.
That wasn't his cabin, was it? Or you just...
No, remember the last scene after, you know, he fights the Abomination, he jumps off, they have him and he's hanging out in a wood somewhere in a cabin.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, all
He's
right.
got his little days without an incident. And he's doing push-ups or something, and then I don't know,
Ding, ding,
his
ding,
eyes turn
ding.
green.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing. Here she is now, sitting out in the middle of the woods, getting completely wrapped up in this book written by one of the worst demons in Marvel. This is not a good thing. This is a major thing.
Well, I know this is probably, I know what your answer was going to be, but where the hell were the Avengers during all this?
The Avengers, I would say mostly the Avengers they're off kind of doing their own thing. We know Cap is gone into the sunset. Tony Stark is gone. Wanda and Clint are probably with Fury somewhere doing something. It would have
Wanda?
only been a matter of time before they showed up.
What do you mean Wanda was with Fury? What do you mean Wanda was with
Oh,
Fury?
no, not Wanda. Natasha and Clint.
She's
probably
dead. Black Widow's dead.
Oh, like I said, the Avengers have moved on to their own things. I think eventually they would have shown up, but I don't think the time span of this
that's
show
a good
took
point.
too long.
Maybe it didn't take that long. It just seemed long to me.
Maybe it just seemed long to you.
So did you feel bad for her at the end? Like when her family was gone and everything?
I felt bad. I did feel bad for her. Up until the cabin scene. Once you went to the cabin and you saw that she's got that projection or something walking around, so anybody who might look will see a normal woman walking around a cabin, and then you go to the back room and she's in astral form flipping through the Darkhold. That's when I was like, oh no. But I thought there was a lot of heart and a lot of emotion when they put the kids to bed. They look out the window and they see that red wall closing in closer to them, and the scene where her and Vision said their goodbyes again.
But they were imaginary.
Not to her at the time.
I felt nothing. That's the whole thing. I mean, I felt that she caused all the problems for everybody because she was selfish over Vision. Again, I just don't like the way that they're going with this character at all. She's not the Scarlet Witch that I enjoyed back in the 70s and 80s in the comics. I know she got worse.
She, she kind of flipped out. And
yeah,
even now they kind of use her a lot more sparingly than they used to. But,
let me ask you too. So with the other after credit scene with Monica and the Skrull, so who do you think she was referencing? Was she referencing Nick Fury, or was it Captain Marvel?
No, I think she was talking about Fury.
Yeah.
Because like an old friend, her mother knew Nick Fury, obviously. And I wouldn't be surprised if S.H.I.E.L.D. had an awful lot to do with the setup of S.W.O.R.D. So I would say she knew Fury, and we've seen the end credits where Fury's hanging out with the Skrulls somewhere on a ship doing something. Yeah. And we've seen the Skrulls impersonating Fury and Maria Hill. So I would say it's Fury, but like I said, that scene they probably could have done away with. I don't think that's set up as much as the scene with Wanda.
Well, she'll probably get her own series. That's what it's leading up to.
Or just a bigger part in Captain Marvel 2. I don't understand enough about Monica's powers from the comics to know if, like, when she jumped in front of those bullets and they kind of, what would you say? She phased and they went through her. that was kind of weird
Yeah, it's
because
kind of like that ghost character, and
kind of like that. But I mean, I remember of her in the comics that her powers were kind of light based, where she can absorb different types of energy and release them back, and she could move like phew. But I don't remember enough about the character to say if those powers were really accurate of the way they showed them when she's getting shot and the bullets are going through her and losing all sort of momentum. I don't know.
yeah.
Unless she's able to absorb kinetic energy, I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I liked it.
I'll never watch it again. I hope there's not a WandaVision 2. Well, that's one thing I wanted to mention. I never brought this up, though. I finally, and you're probably going to say I'm stupid or I'm dumb for not figuring this out, that WandaVision was kind of like almost like a reference to television. Because they had all those, what are you making? Like, I should have known that.
I would have thought you would have gotten that.
Oh, well, I didn't. I thought it was Wanda and Vision, but they were as one because they were a couple. But
well, it ties into that as well, but
yeah,
it was all
took me a while, but whatever.
All right.
No rest for us because the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is actually premiering next week, so we'll have to look into that.
I hope that's good. I really like the fact that they have Zemo.
Yeah, me too.
His costume,
Yeah. No, I think that there can be more surprises in this one, than WandaVision. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, I think this is going to be more up your alley, more of a straight up action.
I just hope there's not too much comedy because we saw some comedy in the trailers and all that. I mean, they what's one good thing about Marvel and the MCU is they seem to get comedy pretty well, but you don't have to have it all the time, No,
I hear you.
All right. Anyway, let's get on to the main topic.
All right.
So this is part 2 or round 2 of the Marvel DC March Madness. Last time we picked 32 candidates or characters or whatever you want to call them. So now we're going to pick the next 32, and we're also going to go over the wild cards, which were 4 superheroes. So let me get my bowl here. And
we may end up with a couple more wild cards, though.
I hope not. I didn't even think about that. Well, we'll put them in there,
Okay, show us the bowl. Let's go.
All right, this is the bowl. So, and now I'm going to pick out the names here. So you ready, Jack?
Go for it. Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern, versus Loki. Ooh, that could be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good match, actually.
Between the two of them, I mean, I think Loki would really mess with Hal Jordan's head. But I don't think he has the firepower to take on Hal Jordan. Because you have to make the key to defeating Hal Jordan is you have to shake his will. And Loki would have to play like the long game of really just kind of messing up Hal Jordan mentally. So I think I'd go to Hal Jordan.
You're going to be happy, Jack. I actually did some homework this time.
Okay, hey, that's good.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of research into this. Yeah, Green Lantern is very powerful. I didn't realize just how powerful he is. And I didn't realize this too, as I was researching, that the lanterns are no longer, their weakness is no longer yellow.
Yes, they purged out the yellow influence of Parallax.
That's pretty good. So
yeah.
I would say he doesn't have much weaknesses then, Green Lantern. Well, not that it's going to happen, but he relies on the power of the lamp to generate his ring.
Right. And the stronger his will is, the stronger his ring becomes. Sort of like that, the madder I get, the stronger I get with the Hulk. Hal Jordan has just such stubborn will that he's, I would say, the most powerful Green Lantern. And he even showed that at one point because he was able to actually kill one of the elders. I'm sorry, one of the Guardians. When there was a fallen Guardian, and Hal Jordan was actually able to kill him with his ring. And even though that freed the other Guardians, they were so shaken up that Hal Jordan could use one of their weapons to actually harm them, much less kill them, that they stripped him of his ring and threw him back on Earth as a human for a little while. So, I mean, the Green Lantern ring it's more than creating a baseball bat or a big catcher's glove to fall somebody falling, or a race car or a jet. There's a lot more to those rings.
I liked when Green Lantern was a bad guy for a while.
Oh, when he was Parallax.
Was he Parallax? Like when they destroyed his city? That
well, that's what tipped him into becoming Parallax.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool, and it was shocking because you never thought that would happen to like a major superhero would become like one of the most powerful villains.
Oh yeah, I mean, and the way he was cutting down his friends.
Yeah,
that was brutal.
And wasn't he collecting rings too?
Yeah, he kept collecting more and more rings to get more powers to, I think, force the Guardians to bring Central City back.
Yeah,
I think that was his end game. But then he just got nuttier and nuttier.
Yeah. Loki, so he's the most powerful sorcerer, I guess, on Asgard. Who was the piece?
Oh no, number 2. I thought you were going to say in Marvel.
But... Okay, so but what about? So you're saying Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Well, what about WandaVision? They said that Agatha Harkness told her she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah, what?
For destructive capability, because chaos magic, once it's unleashed, it's very hard to kind of put the genie back in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And Agatha, being more on the evil, twisted side, would see that as a benefit. But I think Doctor Strange is going to be able to shut her down.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, we'll see, but it should be interesting. So I'm kind of looking forward to that movie.
So who's your vote?
What's that?
Who's your vote?
No, I'm still going over it. So Loki, one thing I was thinking that he could do, I know it sounds silly, but like he's able to basically, well, he uses magic. He can turn invisible and stuff like that. And he is very powerful. I think what he probably could do is like take the ring or cut off the ring. I don't know how easy that would be from his finger. Because once that ring is gone, that's it.
Yeah, but Hal Jordan has
like a field around
Green Lantern 101. He's got, when he went to Green Lantern school, they're like, okay, this is how you're going to protect your body from getting destroyed.
Okay.
So unless Loki has, I don't know, a magic weapon that can cut through that, Loki is sneaky, and he would have to be sneaky with something of enough power to get through Hal Jordan's force field before Hal Jordan squashed him under a anvil or something,
Yeah.
Or heck, even just blasted him and put him into a force bubble,
Yeah, my point is I didn't think it was just going to be an easy takeaway from Green Lantern. I think Loki would still give him some trouble. But I'm going to go with you, Green Lantern.
I mean, Loki's also shown that he knows how to teleport. So even if the Green Lantern manages to capture him in something, Loki would probably be able to get out of it somewhere.
Okay.
But hey, you know.
All right, let's get another one here.
Okay.
All right, this one I need help with.
Gravitron, okay.
And
Versus Taskmaster. You know I love me the Taskmaster. But Gravitron is one of those super high-level villains that it would be over in a thought. You know, what Gravitron is able to do, well, as his name, control gravity. So they had a stint on the Thunderbolts, the original team, where basically Gravitron took over the world. That to get out of a fight with him, the Thunderbolts tricked him into leaving, to just go off. Like they kind of like, you know, you're so powerful. Why are you even bothering with this? Don't you have better things to do? And Gravitron was like, yeah, why am I doing this? I should have better things to do. So Gravitron leaves. Now, the thing is, he goes off thinking of better things to do. And what better thing is there to do for a supervillain? Take over the world. So he is able to manipulate gravity where he can do it to an individual person, that he'll say, okay, the forces of gravity are going to centralize on you, Joe Hogarty. So not that you're going to, you know, crush into the world, but he can make you like drop a black hole in you, and your body just sort of shrinks into this little,
all right, that's pretty powerful,
atom-sized thing. Or, you know, of course, you could always do the, you know, Joe, you're looking skinny. You need a little bit more weight. And all of a sudden, you're the weight that you would have been on Jupiter. You know, you're pinned to the ground. And eventually, your whole body would just crush itself. Now, what they did later on in the Thunderbolts, there was a new team of Thunderbolts assembled. And they were like stand-ins for the Avengers. And Gravitron took them out without batting an eye. For example, he did that to their Iron Man stand-in, where they had Gravitron just use gravity to crush the armor while the person was still inside. And it was really a brutal scene, because it was like 2 or 3 panels of the pilot. She's just screaming and she's being crushed smaller and smaller. And then the suit drops to the ground in a ball of metal like that big. You know, so he is super powerful.
It's a little bit like Magneto. I mean, just the way it was done, but without
he is worse than Magneto, because Magneto relies on magnetic fields, or how much armor or metal you have in you. Gravitron just doesn't need that. He just, you know, like Iron Man went against Magneto using a carbon fiber set of armor.
Oh, really?
And, you know, Magneto is like, wait a second, did you think you're going to fool me for that long? You know, and then Magneto just starts throwing girders at him of, you know, tons of metal at him. Gravitron, that's not even an issue.
Okay.
So,
but
yeah,
like
Gravitron is up there.
Taskmaster, like his basic power is he's able to copy his opponent's skills, right?
He's able to copy skills. Now, this is where people sometimes get confused with them. They think that him being able to copy skills means he gets to copy the powers. So, for example, if he's going against Daredevil, he could mirror Daredevil's fighting techniques. What he doesn't have is Daredevil's sonar. You know, he can attempt to jump around and fight like Spider-Man, but he's not going to move at spider speed.
Yeah, he can't climb walls.
You know, he can't climb walls.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when they have him, you know, they show like the Taskmaster doing something, and then they have like a flashback of what hero's abilities he's using. And they do that. They like, you know, show iron fists, you know, punching. Well, yeah, he can punch like Iron Fist, but he doesn't have the Iron Fist, you know. But still, look at he's taken on the whole Avengers solo, you know, fighting like Captain America, shooting like Hawkeye, you know, brawling like Thor, you know, just using all their moves and fighting styles against them. And like I said, for one guy to hold off an entire team of Avengers is pretty darn good.
I didn't think he would have much of a chance against Thor. So you're saying he did?
Well, he had a chance against Thor because Thor couldn't hit him.
Oh.
You know, and he has a shield. I don't think his shield, maybe his shield might be vibranium, but it's not that vibranium adamantium alloy capsules. But, you know, he was able to defend himself, and, you know, Thor couldn't hit him, you know, and that's the problem. You know, of course, he could punch Thor all he wants, and Thor's going to feel a thing. But, you know, Thor's was trying to hit him, you know, and I think they were fighting in a facility, so Thor couldn't, like, you know, bring down the lightning or anything. Thor had to take him out physically.
Okay.
And, you know, they've said that even though, if you think about Thor being a god, he's got thousands of years of battle experience. You know, he was fighting with the Vikings. He was fighting, and before the Vikings came along, he was out, you know, punching out frost giants and fighting dragons. So Thor is a warrior with thousands of years of experience, you know, and hand to hand without powers, Cap could stand up to him. So Taskmaster studied his tapes on Cap, and he's as good a fighter as Captain America.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with you with Gravitron.
Yeah,
Seems like he's just overpowered for him.
He's super powerful, but, you know, he, like I said, he has been defeated by the Thunderbolt. So,
all right, next one.
Okay. Bane versus.
This is going to be a quick one.
This is going to be good.
No, it's going to be quick, I think. Did you see that?
Power Girl. Oh, yeah, that's going to be quick.
Yeah. It's a bit of a, Bane would have a chance against a lot of different characters, but
not at that power level.
Not against Power Girl. That's a quick one.
Now, Power Girl she's not Kryptonian, or is she like a alternate?
She's from an alternate, like, isn't like an alternate Krypton?
Is she? I don't know all that much about her. I mean, I know her costume. I know her weakness is wood.
Is it wood?
I thought it was.
It's like not kryptonite.
Very common.
I don't know. I thought that she basically was another alternate universe Supergirl, except she's called Power Girl.
Yeah, I don't know enough about her, but I know, being of a type of Kryptonian, yeah, poor old Bane wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah. Yep. Let's just
punching me.
Sorry, Bane. I love Bane. He's one of my favorite Batman villains. But yeah, you didn't make this one. All right, here's the next one. You ready?
Mm-hmm. The Cheetah versus Sinestro. Well, Sinestro is pretty much toe-to-toe with a Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think the Cheetah would be able to get close enough to him.
There's been different.
I mean, well, the Cheetah is her fights with Wonder Woman, like the current Cheetah. How strong is she? And how fast is she? Being a Cheetah, I mean, you assume she's fast, but would she be fast enough to get a jump on, like a jump on Sinestro?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think it's probably similar with Green Lantern and Loki. I mean, I would consider Sinestro right up there with Green Lantern. I don't think he'd have a difficult time with the likes.
But the reason I'm saying is because I don't know, like when we watched Wonder Woman 84, like how at the end of it, I was kind of theorizing that she still had all the powers of Wonder Woman from a previous wish. I don't know. It's like when she fights Wonder Woman, do they go toe to toe, or is it more like cat and mouse game?
Well, again, she's fast. I do think they go toe to toe. I mean, I remember her.
Because that would, Wonder Woman is supposed to be like the second most powerful character in DC,
I'll get to that.
pound for pound. So, I mean, hero wise. So, if the Cheetah is as powerful, maybe she could break Sinestro's constructs. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of agree with you that I'd go with Sinestro.
Well, the Cheetah, she used to rely on the phases of the moon, but I think that they changed that. When she first was around, like, it was almost like Moon Knight, I think. Where she would change during a full
background on her.
Yeah, she would remain weak and as a human, but if there was a full moon, she would turn into the Cheetah. But that was like her original origin. But I thought that was interesting anyway. That she had something like that. But again, they always end up upgrading superheroes and villains throughout the years to.
That's what I mean. I know DC had an event where the villains, a whole wave of them, got a major power increase. That like they signed contracts with like basically like a Mephisto type, and he gave them all these additional powers, like really amped them up. And that's, I think, when they went and like they gave Cheetah, like instead of being the girl in the leopard suit, she was actually turning into like a cheetah werewolf, So, yeah, I don't know. With all the upgrades, I don't know what the current status of the Cheetah
She
is.
can pierce Superman. She has pierced Superman with her claws.
She has?
Yeah. And
because they're magic based?
That could be it. I didn't think about that. I mean, I doubt that they're Wolverine type claws, like adamantium.
Well, Wolverine shouldn't be able to cut Superman.
Yeah, you're right. It probably is magic based.
It must be, it must be magic based. So,
but she can, bite someone, and then they turn somewhat like into a cheetah, and she has them under their control or under her control.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
So she's like Dracula.
Yeah. However, Sinestro is a type that he would crush a planet. That wouldn't give him any pause.
Yeah, and like I said the last time too, the flight has a lot to do with it. She'd never be able to reach him, and he was just shooting down from above, I would think,
Right.
He's not an idiot.
Yeah, I'd give it to Sinestro.
Me too. All right, next one here. See if you can read this one.
Batman Beyond. Okay.
Terry McGinnis. Versus. Well, this one actually might be good.
Deathstroke. Ooh. Yeah, that could be a good fight.
Yeah.
Because I think Terry's suit also, like, he's stronger than your average Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it augments him a bit, which
does, yeah.
Which should bring him up to speed on how strong Deathstroke is. So I think that would be a really good fight.
Yeah, I think so too. So his one sort of weakness that he has is that his suit is based on electronics. So his vision is based on electronics too. So if you knock that out, he's blind. He can't see anything.
Well, also on sheer ruthlessness, I think it would be a good fight, but I would give it to Deathstroke only because of he crossed that line that Terry McGinnis would probably be holding back a bit. Like, I don't think Terry McGinnis has ever like used lethal force on anybody, and Deathstroke thrives on lethal force. So I would give it to Deathstroke, but I think that would be a good fight.
Yeah, Terry McGinnis, he learned everything from his mentor, Bruce Wayne, and detective work, intelligence. Like as he got older, he got a lot brighter. He also worked out a lot too, so he matched Bruce Wayne's peak physical form and all that. And again, like you said, like the suit also enhances his abilities. That suit's pretty damn cool. I mean, he can fly with that suit. He's got thrusters and gliders that he can use. He's got batarangs that I guess come out of his.
I mean, I know
wrists.
you're not the biggest Bruce Timm fan, but I really enjoyed Batman Beyond when
I did too. I mean, I got tired of it after a while, but I liked the first episode a lot. I thought that was really good. I watched a few of it, but it freaked me out with that whole thing, the Return of the Joker.
Oh, that was good, but that was kind of freaky what he did.
Yeah, it was Tim Drake. He kidnapped Tim Drake and turned him into a mini Joker, and I think he did a lobotomy on him too.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty creepy. But yeah, no, I'm going to agree
Batgirl
with
got
you.
the raw deal on that too. She was kind of freaked out too from that.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree with you with Deathstroke. I think Deathstroke, he does have superhuman abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And again, he's pretty good. He's pretty powerful, and he at one point he was really up there as one of the most top tier villains in the DC universe. So
No, he still is, and I think it's only because he's as calculated a planner as Batman, but he crosses that line without blinking an eye. So he's pretty. Deathstroke is pretty good. He's a very good villain.
and I love his costume.
I mean, you know what too? Also, Deathstroke swords, I'm sure they can't be your average metal. They've got to be made of something that's going to cut through things. So I would say that if he got a good solid shot, he could probably pierce Terry's suit armor.
Yeah.
However you want to put it.
Speaking of costumes, Batman Beyond's costume was pretty cool too.
It is cool. It is cool. I remember when they used to have the Warner Brothers store, they had they put out a series of the little statues. They called them marquees.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
The Batman Beyond one was really cool because it was like he was leaning forward in a dive and he had like the wings stretched out behind him. That was just a cool thing. I wish I'd picked those up when they were out.
But Bruce looked really cool in the first episode when he was in that suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome. But we got to give it to Deathstroke. Moving on. Let's see. All right, this next one here.
Lex Luthor versus Wolverine. Oh.
I know what I'm going for. All right, go. What? I know what.
Lex Luthor's armor was built to stand up to Superman. And it's given Superman kind of a tough time sometimes. I'm thinking it's got enough armament that he would be able to take out Wolverine from a distance. Wolverine is an up-close guy with those claws. So I think Lex Luthor is smart enough to realize he's got to stay away from him and just blast him from a distance. And his suit has the power to knock Superman around. So I'm sure that it could knock Wolverine around. It's sort of like, what comes to mind is, that scene in Days of Futures Past where Wolverine jumps at a Sentinel and the Sentinel blasts him with a disintegration ray, and just the adamantium skeleton hits the ground. I think the scenario with Lex Luthor and his armor would be something similar with Wolverine. I got to go with Lex.
Again, we don't know for sure. Again, this is comics and everything, but I still think that he'd have a difficult time against Wolverine. I think his adamantium claws could penetrate his suit.
Oh, I think they could. I think they could penetrate Lex Luthor's armor.
But you're saying from a distance, he wouldn't be able to get him.
He wouldn't be able to get him. That's why. And I think Lex, being as smart as he is, he would figure out real quick, like, I'm not going to go toe-to-toe with this guy. I'm going to blast him from 50 feet up in the air. And that, like I said, that scene with the Sentinel is what I keep thinking of with Lex and his armor, because they both have purple too. So
yeah, as much as I love Wolverine and I want him to go further, you make a good point, Jack. I mean,
if it was a melee battle, you can't bet against Wolverine in most cases. But
and like I've been pushing, anyone that's got flight has got an advantage over someone that doesn't have flight.
Well, I mean, you can have flight. Like if it was Wolverine against Hawkman, I give it to Wolverine because Hawkman's got to fly down to hit him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But ranged weaponry is tough, and it's also the type. If you hit Wolverine with some sort of regular explosive, shoot a missile at him, yeah, it's going to blow up and it's going to hurt him, but he's going to come back. But if you have anything of a disintegration or what's the word I'm looking for? Fire. Inflammable. I can't, for the word that escapes me at the moment. But if you can just roast the skin off of them, Wolverine is just going to be a hunk of adamantium.
Yeah, I would have liked if Wolverine took on either Batman Beyond or Deathstroke. I think that would have been
once again, that would be him versus Deathstroke would be really good because we've seen Wolverine get shot, so Deathstroke could be picking bullets at him, shooting him, and Wolverine keeps coming, and Deathstroke tries to go at him with the sword, and you don't want to get within arm's reach of him.
Yeah, no, I think he would beat both of those two.
Yeah.
But damn you, Lex Luthor. I don't like you as a character. And you screwed up Wolverine.
How could you not like Lex Luthor, though?
I don't like him. I just think that...
Or you keep thinking of Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. I don't know. I was never a fan of Lex Luthor in the comics either. I don't know.
No, he's
just never liked him.
He's basically like the Dr. Doom of DC.
Yeah, but he's still only human. All right, so this is the one that made it after I got rid of Spectre.
Uh-oh.
You see that?
The Red Hood, okay.
The Red Hood.
Versus...
I don't even know who this is. You picked this one.
Count Nefaria. Okay. A lot of people get Count Nefaria mixed up with Gravitron because for a while they were kind of drawn very closely, looking alike. Count Nefaria has the strength, the invulnerability, the flight of Superman, where he's taken a solid hit from Thor's hammer. And what kept him at bay for the longest time was he was always afraid of Thor, because he was always he never knew if he could survive a hit from Thor. And once Thor hit him, things got a whole lot worse, because he took a straight on hit from Mjolnir and it hurt him, but he was alive. And it wasn't like it hurt him where it seriously injured him. He, it was like he got punched, but he was still up and ready to fight afterwards. His powers stem from ionic powers, just like Wonder Man and another character, Atlas. However, he's also able to control the ionic power. So he's actually taken control of Wonder Man and Atlas and kind of used them as bodyguards, as henchmen, goons, which is terrible when you see a really good superhero reduced to, Goon 1 and Goon 2. So Nefaria is really, really rough. And the reason he kind of uses them too is because he's like, well, why use up my own ionic power? I can siphon it off those two guys. And he's, who's his daughter is?
Who?
Madame Mask. Remember for the Iron Man, she was a model and she got scarred, so she just wears like a gold mask.
Okay.
She's sort of like a Black Widow type. That's his daughter. And he is able to bestow his powers on her, but she doesn't accept them because with the ionic powers, you become immortal. And she doesn't want to lose her mortal life. Even though her face is messed up and everything, she doesn't want to be the type that's going to live forever. Which, that kind of makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, but he is ultra powerful. So the Red Hood doesn't really stand a chance. Because the Red Hood is Jason Todd, so
yeah,
grown up. So
and he has a lot of training from Batman, and then in the Lazarus pit, I think he gained some more strength.
Is that how they explained him coming back?
Hmm?
That's how they explained
Jason like how he
Todd
came back.
Coming back. They put him in a Lazarus pit?
And that he was kind of crazy and all that.
Oh, I never knew how he came back. I just saw it like theorized when Superboy Prime was hitting the reality barrier. The vibrations were causing weird things throughout the DC universe, and I thought that was what brought him back. One of those reverberations.
I watched Under the Red Hood, which was the animated. Yeah, and Ra's al Ghul, basically put him in the Lazarus pit, but he came out all messed up because they waited too long to put him in the pit.
I thought everybody who came out of that pit was messed up anyway.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that he regretted actually doing it. Anyway, I'm going to go with you. I don't even know who this guy is, but
look him up, do some research, and you'll be like,
I did do some research, but I saw he had the power of Wonder Man and Whirlwind. Was that one?
Whirlwind? I know
the living laser. The living laser.
I don't know if he has the living laser's powers. Like, I don't know if he has like heat beams he can shoot out of his eyes or cold breath, but I know he's like super strong. And
it says he has the combined powers of the living laser, Power Man, and Whirlwind, all amplified at over 100-fold.
well, Whirlwind is, well, he's like Red Tornado or something, isn't he? He just sort of flies around.
Yeah, and he's in.
And his wind power.
He was in one of the groups, right? One of the teams.
One of the Masters of Evil, I think. But yeah, no, hey, Nefaria is tough.
No, he seems.
And if he has a living laser, then that even covers the Superman heat vision.
All right, well, let's get on the next one here. I looked up this guy too because he kind of confuses me at times.
Reverse Flash, okay, versus Spider-Man.
I can see by your face.
Well, I know from Taylor how Reverse Flash is as bad as they come.
Yeah.
And as great as Spider-Man is, I don't think he could stand up to a character that moves as fast as a Flash. Now, I don't know if Reverse Flash is faster than the Flash,
I
but
think he is.
even as the speedster type and what I know about Reverse Flash I've seen on the Flash TV show. And I don't think Spider-Man could stand up to him because, like, in the show, he kills people all the time by vibrating his hand really fast and putting it into their chest. And I don't think Spider-Man would be able to get away from him before he did that. So as strong and great as Spider-Man is, and as fast as Spider-Man is, I don't think he could stand up to the Flash for a millisecond.
Yeah, and it sucks because I love Spider-Man too.
I like Spider-Man too. I'm sure he'd have some good fights in these brackets.
It's like Spider-Man and Wolverine. Come on, it sucks, but yeah, Reverse Flash is pretty powerful. But
well, that's the luck or bad luck of the draw in these.
It is. What always confused me was what's the difference between Zoom and Reverse Flash. So I kind of figured that out. So there's all different. There's 3 Reverse Flashes, and Zoom is one of them, basically.
So they're all the same. They're all a Reverse Flash.
Well, Reverse Flash is
timelines or realities or something.
Like the first Reverse Flash was like a Barry Allen villain, and Zoom is more of a Wally West villain.
Okay. But then they're not related.
They're not related, no. They're just Reverse Flashes. I mean, I'm not 100% sure how they got their powers and all that, but
I think Reverse Flash is he's a timeline villain. So per Taylor's background on him, he's like a descendant of the Flash far enough away that as long as Barry Allen isn't killed, he'll still be able to be born down the line. So he can he came back, can screw with Barry Allen all he wants, but as long as he doesn't kill him, he'll still be born however far away in the future. So it's a weird timey-wimey thing.
Yeah. That makes sense. All right, that one goes to Reverse Flash. Wah, wah. All right, one of your favorites.
Doc Doom, okay. Versus Doctor Strange. Oh.
The doctors.
The 2 doctors. In the graphic novel, Test and Triumph, I think it was. That's the one where it was a Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom team up. And the winner got a wish. So, of course, all the great mages on Earth get together and they're having a battle royale to have a wish from the Vishanti, the guys, the high magic beings that Doctor Strange references a lot. And during the fight, Doctor Doom comes in second to Doctor Strange. And he does it because first, even though he, is very skilled at mystic arts, he uses his technology to kind of cheat a little bit. For example, he kind of hangs back for a while and watches, has his armor analyze how these other sorcerers are casting their spells. And then he goes and keeps adding those into his repertoire. And eventually he loses to Doctor. He takes everybody out except for Doctor Strange. And he loses to Doctor Strange. So he's acknowledged as, the runner-up. Doctor Strange winning, he gets a wish. But the winner doesn't get to wish for himself. The winner has to wish something for the runner-up. So Victor Von Doom wishes that Doctor Strange would help him free his mother's soul out of hell because Mephisto holds her soul because she was a witch. So they go through all sort of adventures, traveling down into hell. And Doctor Doom, they're doing all the spells and stuff. And Doctor Doom at the end pulls out a bit of technology and gains them enough time to escape Mephisto after freeing his mom. So it comes down to I would say Doctor Strange, because I don't think Doctor Strange would let Doom use a trick like that again. Doctor Strange knows that Doom is someone who can't be trusted. So I would give it to Doctor Strange, but it would be a good fight, I think.
Now, I know you love Doctor Doom.
I love Doc Doom.
And you've said how powerful he is. And he does seem powerful. And I think recently we had like the most powerful superheroes and villains. And I think he came out on top, Doctor Doom, if I remember correctly.
I think we did because it came down to, I think it was a Reverse Flash. I remember us debating if beings like Doctor Strange have protective spells that would protect them from a speedster. Doing, like we said, Reverse Flash doing the trembling hand in. And I'm sure Doom does have all that stuff built into his armor. It's not just armor. He has runes in there. He's got spells galore on that armor to protect him. So yeah, I think he'd come out if it was against the speedster. But against Doctor Strange, I don't think Doctor Strange would trust him enough to throw in some technology to cheat.
Couldn't Doctor Strange open up like a portal and just send him like into space or something like that? Or
he could. The thing is, Doctor Doom knows how to open those same portals and could portal back. So you see, it would be a lot of spells versus counter spells, with Doom trying to sneak in some technology to throw Doctor Strange off his game. But I think Doctor Strange would prevail. There's got to be some magic that gives him the edge over Doom.
I'm going with this one other thing that I've been going with through this whole series. Doctor Strange has the power of flight, where Doom doesn't fly, does he?
Yeah.
He does?
Yeah. Well, a flight spell can't be that difficult, but Doom.
Oh, it's a flight spell?
That's how Doctor Strange.
Or does he have like... No, doesn't he have the...
he also has jet boots.
Oh no, I was talking about Doctor Strange. He's got the cape that makes him
The
fly.
cape lets him levitate. The cape of levitation. So
And
he can fly without having to cast a spell. But then again, Doom has
like thrusters like in his boots, like
same
Iron
way
Man.
as Iron Man. He could fly around just like Iron Man if he wanted to.
All right, I'm still gonna go with Doctor Strange because it would just crush my heart after losing Wolverine and Spider-Man to lose.
No, like I said,
Doom.
Doctor Strange, I'm sure he knows stuff Doom doesn't. So he wouldn't give Doom a chance to cheat.
Okay. We can go on and on with this one. I could have asked you a ton of questions, but we got to get going. All right. He's one of the big boys.
Up, Superman versus.
Oh, man. This is going to be rough.
The Silver Surfer.
Oh, man. Two of my favorites. It's like...
Joe, I got to go with the Silver Surfer.
No, I agree with you.
Because the Silver Surfer can create all forms of energy wavelengths. And I think he can also absorb energy as well. I think he could very easily blast Superman with the same wavelength as a red sun and weaken him. And I'm sure he could also generate the same radiation that comes out of kryptonite.
And he's probably just as strong
and
as
he's
Superman.
Powerful.
And he could basically create a black hole if he wanted to and just stick. Well, Superman.
I don't know if he could create a black hole. I don't know if he could do that, but like I said, the way he can manipulate energy, I think the power cosmic is just.
That's how he'd create a black hole, is by manipulating energy.
Yeah, but I don't. It's.
He can.
I don't think he would be able to affect like that much gravity. Huh?
I looked it up. He can create a black hole. I told you I did my homework.
Okay.
I love Superman. You know, he's got the weakness of kryptonite and magic. You know, he's a little vulnerable to that stuff. He's definitely super powerful. He's the
super guy
in the DC universe. It's tough to beat. That should have been like the last two, the Silver Surfer and Superman.
That's an upset. Superman knocked out in the preliminary rounds.
Yeah, I got to go with Silver Surfer too. He's just too powerful.
Yeah, baby.
All right.
You're not doing good tonight.
No, I'm not.
Okay, Shazam versus Willie Lumpkin, the mailman.
There's another one, man.
Thor. Ooh.
This happened too. I have a crossover where they fought.
Once again, I think that would be a really good fight. Because in both cases, it's the power of the gods against each other. However, Thor is one of my favorites, but only because of the diversity of powers that Shazam has access to. I would give it to Captain Marvel. Shazam.
See, this is one where I'm going to disagree with you. I would give it to Thor. I don't know. I think that, again, he's practically a god, Thor. Shazam has got the powers of gods, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him a god. And he's also, the current version of Shazam is basically a boy in a man's body. Am I correct?
Right. But my rationale is that Thor and Hercules fight to a standstill numerous times. They're both the power, strength guy in their pantheons. But Shazam also has the speed of Mercury. He's got the, I believe, the battle skills of Athena. So with all that mixed in, that's why I think he's got a little bit more of an edge. Thor, as strong as he is, he doesn't have the speed. And I think if he's getting punched by the strength of Hercules numerous times by the speed of Mercury with the skill of Athena, I think all these things compounded on him that I think Shazam would wear him down.
I think you're looking too much into that.
Huh?
I think you're looking too much into that. I don't think that they all work in unison together.
I kind of think they can, but
so
well, you know what? If it's a matter of he can only use one power of a god at a time, to go to Thor hands down. Now, you know what? You know what would be interesting? Can Thor control the lightning to turn Shazam back?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Because both magical in nature, so it's not like natural lightning, it's magical lightning that, Captain Marvel is there and Thor goes boom, and all of a sudden it's Billy Baxton. And how fast can Mjolnir fly? That Billy Baxton gets a slab of Starstone in the head.
So Shazam, that's an anagram, right?
Yes.
So he has the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules, the stamina of Atlas, the power of Zeus, the courage of Achilles, and the speed of Mercury.
Oh, okay. I thought one of the A's was for Athena, but like I said, I'm not the DC expert.
And this says here, in the DC universe, he's considered on par with a demigod. Thor is a demigod. And I don't know. I honestly, I mean, I like Shazam and everything, but I also think that Thor would be more ruthless than Shazam because, again, Billy Batson he's more good at heart.
He's still a kid. And like we were talking, like I was saying before, Thor is a warrior with millennia of battle experience. I don't know if Billy Baxton is. I don't know if all that stuff gives him the same sort of battle prowess as Thor would have.
Yeah, that's my issue. Is that
I also, like I said, I don't know if Shazam can use multiple powers at the same time.
Yeah, so you know
I
what?
still think it would be a fun fight.
No, I do. I think it would be a fun fight. And they did fight together, but again, I think it was more of a draw than anything.
But wasn't that in that terrible Marvel versus DC or DC versus Marvel?
Yeah, it's like when
I don't think you could put anything of any of that.
Well, I think that the fans kind of decided who was going to win with that one. Like they had Wolverine versus Lobo,
which Wolverine is great, but I don't think. I mean, Lobo goes toe to toe with Superman. I don't think Wolverine would take him in a couple of panels behind a bar,
And he won in that one.
And Wolverine won because he's Wolverine. Same thing. I don't think Storm could take Wonder Woman.
Did Storm win?
You know what?
Wonder Woman?
I think Storm won. That she just hit Diana with lightning bolts and wore her down.
I'll have to look. I have that. I'll take a look at it. But
all right.
I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go with Thor. And
you know what? Because he's one of my favorites, I'll go with Thor too.
Yeah, we got to put Thor in there. Shazam, he's a little kid inside,
He's a kid at heart.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Namor versus. This could be good.
Oh, this is fairly accurate.
The Black Panther. Yeah, they hate each other, and their kingdoms are at war. Have
you read any of that?
Huh?
Have you read any of that?
And that has been going on through numerous titles all over the place.
Well, he's supposed to be in Black Panther 2. I mean, if they ever get that going.
Oh, was that one the storyline for Black Panther 2?
Well, that was one of the rumors, is that he was going to be introduced in Black Panther 2.
Because yeah, you know what? I would give it to Namor. I mean, T'Challa is a good hero, but strength-wise, he's just not up to Namor. I mean, Namor has fought everybody through the years. He's fought the Hulk. He's fought the Thing. He's fought Thor. He's fought Iron Man. I don't think the Black Panther could go toe to toe with him. You know, I mean, T'Challa, if you put him against a lot of, lower strength tier heroes, I think he'd come out on top, but I don't think he'd come out on top against Namor. Namor's just too darn tough.
Well, one of the issues that Namor has is that his strength comes from the water. So as his skin dries, he's not as strong.
Yeah, but it takes him a while to dry out.
That's true. And I don't think
it's not like
it's not like he's
going to 60 seconds.
Yeah, he's not going to go in a sauna before he fights Black Panther.
Right.
I mean, he'll probably be in his prime. All these heroes will be in their prime.
Right. Now, if Black Panther could lure him into a volcano, he's got a good chance.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Namor is pretty powerful. I never realized just how powerful he is. But like you said, he's fought a lot of those really super powerful superheroes and came out on top.
And the only thing that's keeping the war going is because T'Challa has the superior technology. And that's the trade-off where it always comes. The Atlantean strength going against the Wakandan technology. And that's the only reason it's lasted, because, think about it. Atlanteans, they may not be super strong, but they're tough. They survive at the bottom of the ocean. They live down there. So they're accustomed to, massive pressure on them constantly. The downside is they need water. That's why whenever they show up, they've always got the bubble helmet on.
Yeah.
But
what if it rains?
If it rains, it's a terrible day for Wakanda. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Black Panther's great, but I'd have to go with Namor on this one.
Now, they reconned Namor years ago where they made him a mutant. He wasn't a mutant when he first came on. They didn't even have mutants back then.
They didn't have mutants back then. He was, I guess, yeah, he was like a mixed breed, half Atlantean, half human.
Like Aquaman.
However, wherever the heck those little wings on his ankles came from, who knows?
Well, that was something I read into that
as well.
Apparently he doesn't need those wings to fly. It's his mutant abilities that can make him fly. But I think that he feels that it actually helps him fly.
Okay.
And he can go as fast, 150 miles an hour.
He can fly that fast?
That's what I read.
Wow. Okay. I didn't realize he could fly that fast.
Yeah. So he's got flight too going for him. Again, flight.
Well, he's tough, but like I said, I mean, I know they surmised he was the first mutant. I guess probably any mutation would have been a result of the mixture of the two DNAs. So I guess that could define him as a mutant.
Mm.
You know, but
Anyway, yeah,
anyway,
Namor, he's got it.
Namor.
I'm still bummed about Superman.
Wonder Woman versus Brainiac. Oh. You know what? I would go, well,
I looked into Brainiac. I mean, I know he's considered super powerful, but I don't know. I think he's overrated.
Well, you know what? It may be a matter of the case that he gives Superman such a hard time because I think they've tied him now back to Krypton.
I don't
So
like that.
Brainiac would know about kryptonite. And since Brainiac has pieces of kryptonite, that could be why he gives Superman so much trouble. Now, Wonder Woman wouldn't have that weakness. So she would probably be able to tear through everything much easier than Superman would. Because, like I said, not DC guy, but I'm sure Brainiac would use kryptonite against Superman at any chance he can.
Yeah, you know, and Brainiac is strong. I mean, I think his big thing is his mental or his intelligence or his intellect is way off the
Yeah,
charts.
I think it's like, well, Brainiac's gone through lots of changes. Remember, he used to just be a green guy with like a helmet thing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember he was more like an electronic entity that, you know, he was plugged into the ship almost like an Ultron, and he could control all of the technology in it to do whatever he needed to.
And that's another thing. I don't think Brainiac, well, in this particular fight, would give him access to his ship. Like he wouldn't be fighting from inside his ship. You know, he'd be on the ground, toe to toe against Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm leaning towards Wonder Woman.
No, I am too.
Because, like I said, Brainiac may give Superman such a tough time because he has access to kryptonite. So, and with Wonder Woman not having that weakness, I think it would go to her.
Yeah, I'm
It'd
gonna
be a
go Wonder
tough
Woman
fight. It'd be
too.
a great fight to watch.
No, it would be. Yeah.
To watch or see. I mean, especially if you had somebody who drew technology stuff really cool. Like, can you imagine George Perez drawing that? That would be just incredible.
And I'm sure the Justice League has gone up against Brainiac, and I'm sure she was
I'm sure
there.
they have.
No, he's pretty powerful. It's not like, but I still think.
Yeah, he's definitely
overall,
a JLA League villain.
Yeah. All right. Wonder
Here we
Woman.
go. Bum, bum, bum. Daredevil versus the Mandarin. Daredevil is good, but the Mandarin's a whole different league.
So the Mandarin, he basically, all his powers come from his 10 rings.
Mm-hmm.
And they all do something. Is it like the Infinity Gauntlet almost?
Think of a really scaled down Infinity Gauntlet with more variety. You know, he has like a paralyzing ray. He's got a fire ray. All his stuff is like ranged rays, but he's also a martial artist as well. So, you know, he's even without the rings, he still can fight your human level guys because he's, you know, he knows how to fight. But with the rings, I think with the rings, he sometimes takes Iron Man's armor apart. Daredevil doesn't have those kind of defenses. So I think that it would go to Mandarin pretty quickly.
It's weird. I mean, I could see a good fight being Daredevil versus Spider-Man, or Daredevil being going against Captain America.
Daredevil and Captain America. Now that would be a good fight.
And that's happened before too.
I think they have fought a couple of times.
Yeah. But I think Cap and Spider-Man would have a better chance against the Mandarin than Daredevil, where I think it would be much closer. You know what I'm saying? I think that
I think Spider-Man would have a much better chance. I think the odds of Cap against the Mandarin would be just about as good as Daredevil against Mandarin.
You think so?
Because it's, where Captain America has the range attack, they could throw his shield. Daredevil still has that little billy club that does incredibly strange things like Captain America's shield does. Cap throws it. Huh?
No, I love Daredevil. I mean, especially in the comics, I was a huge Daredevil fan.
I liked him. I liked him years ago. Once they got a little too, I don't know. Daredevil at one point just stopped being fun to me because it got so dark, and Matt Murdock is the tortured soul. I mean, my favorite Daredevil stories is when he was going out with the Black Widow. That far back into the 70s.
Oh yeah, me too. Well, that's kind of where I know him the most, and also
plus John Romita was drawing him.
Was it Frank Miller, Born Again?
Well, you see, that's after that point is when that's kind of when I kind of went off Daredevil. He kind of turned a little too dark. I
like that though. I mean, that's a classic.
Yeah, you like the dark stuff. I like the happy, fun superhero.
And it's Frank Miller. I mean, he did for Daredevil what he did for, I guess, the Dark Knight. I don't know which.
Oh, he completely changed. He completely changed the Daredevil character. The whole look of the magazine, everything about it, he completely changed, and he did a good job. I'm just saying, it's just not.
No, I understand.
My kind of comic I enjoy.
Yeah. All right. So Mandarin takes that one. All right. Who's the next one? Hey, we were just talking about this guy.
Vision. Okay. Versus
Vision. This is actually, I think, pretty good.
Magneto. Ooh.
Ooh. So what is Vision's construct made out of?
That's what I'm wondering. How much metal there is in a Vision. And if the Vision goes intangible, is he still affected? Would his metal still be affected by?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Magnetism. Or, I mean, he could be metal. He could have stainless steel in him that is a non-magnetic metal.
Well, if he knew he was fighting Magneto, maybe that's what he would do, is that.
Yeah, but the Vision can't change parts of him out.
But if he's able to, it's not necessarily teleport. It's, what is it?
No, go intangible.
It's called going intangible.
Yeah,
intangibility. Yeah,
intangibility. Now that's the question. Because if the Vision can get close enough to him, maybe start a swing as intangible, then flicker it off, he would take Magneto's head off his shoulders. Because the Vision is extremely strong. He's not Thor level, but he is very, very strong.
He would definitely hand it to Magneto.
Yeah, so I would go Vision. I think the Vision would be able to, like I said, that's all based on if he's intangible.
No, you're right. That's the whole question.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that. What was
Okay.
he made out of?
That's the part of it I don't know, but I'm assuming he's not magnetic, that the Vision would be able to take him out. Because
so one thing I
Magneto
read
could be throwing metal at him and it's all passing through.
So one thing I read about Magneto was that he has no effect on vibranium.
Okay, but well, the Vision in the comics, I don't think is made of vibranium.
No, I don't think he's made of vibranium either.
In the MCU, I think he is, but he's not in the other comics because.
Yeah, we're going by the comics. We're not going by.
Yeah, we're going by the comics. So yeah, but I don't think that would come into play. We know he can affect adamantium.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, he can affect adamantium,
right out of him.
But not vibranium. But I thought that was kind of cool. I thought that was a cool fact I didn't know.
I did not realize that either.
Last one. Last two.
Moon Knight versus Lobo.
You don't like that guy.
I will admit I am not a fan of Lobo. Moon Knight I think is fun. He is like a Daredevil, but just totally psychotic. Sometimes like they play that side of him up too much.
Like a schizophrenic?
Yeah. Oh no, he's definitely schizophrenic, but he's also got issues on top of multiple personalities. Some of those multiple personalities are outright crazy as well. So yeah, it would go to Lobo because, like I said, I mean, Moon Knight does have some augmented strength and stuff from Khonshu. I think that's the moon god that gave him his power. So he does have powers. He is augmented, but let's face it, Lobo can tussle with Superman, and that puts him in a different league.
I think you were talking about Moon Knight a while ago on the podcast. So I think you said that he no longer relies on the phases of the moon, like where he was once powerful when it was a full moon, but if it was like
he does get more power when it's a full moon, I believe, but he's gotten his strength from this god. And let's face it, if it's the moon is circling around the earth somewhere. So he still has some of the power, I believe, during the day, but depending on the phase of the moon, he gets like a power boost or something.
Oh, he does get a power boost. So if it's a full moon, it's a power boost.
So the only thing with Moon Knight is, sometimes they go a little bit overboard with the schizophrenia and the multiple personalities and stuff. When Moon Knight first showed up, he was a werewolf hunter. And, he was fun, but he was kind of a mercenary type. People are like, why are you wearing that silver outfit? And he's like, I hunt werewolves. Why do you think I'm wearing silver? And he was a fun character. I love the old design. Now he's more like a Batman, but he had a hood. He looked more like Azrael when he first came out.
That's the one I remember. Why he looks a lot different. He looks
now he just had,
different.
He's got the hood, he's got the long cape. Before he used to have like the short cape that was attached to his wrists or something, so he could jump out and glide. And it was just kind of a cool kind of look. Probably not the most useful superhero costume, but I like the look of it. And like I said, it reminds me, thinking back on it, it reminds me of how Azrael looked when he first came out. When he had the cape that wasn't quite exactly a cape, and he just had a cool look. But like I said, they've gone a little bit overboard, too much on the schizophrenic. I liked him when he was just, Mark Spencer. Spectre. And, we had his friend Frenchie who flew him around in the helicopter,
See, I'm used to the Moon Knight with the cape, so you're probably going way back.
I'm probably going way back.
Because I started collecting him in the late 90s.
Yeah, that's probably when you're more in the cape era.
Yeah. I just like the way he looked, No,
he's a cool looking character. But
we should have a superhero fashion show at one point, deciding like who has the best costume. Won't call it fashion show, but you know what I'm talking about, because there's some cool ass costumes. Spider-Man has a ton of them.
Black suit Spider-Man, all the winner, all the way.
Yeah, we'll do that sometime. Because I love, especially now that we have video and we could show that stuff. Be pretty cool.
Here's
pretty
the
cool.
walkway.
All right, let's go over. This is the last thing that we're going to do. We're going to go over those 4 that tied the last time in the wild card round. So the ones that tied were Batman, Hulk, Captain Marvel, and Invisible Woman. So I'm going to start, Jack, and I hate to say this. I'm getting rid of Batman right away. I don't think he has a I mean, make this like this is a Royal Rumble. They're all going at it.
If this is a Royal Rumble, Batman doesn't stand a chance.
No,
One-on-one, he might be able to evade the Hulk, and like he did in that comic book, make the Hulk breathe some knockout gas or something. But he's not going to be able to deal with the Hulk and the other two at the same time. He's going to be overwhelmed. So you're right. Batman's out.
He's out. So now that I think about it, we have to pick 2 here, because in order for it to be even going forward. So the person I am going to choose to go out is Invisible Woman. Because I think that the Hulk can beat her.
Well, she's taken out the Hulk. She's knocked out the Hulk. But now here's the thing. This comes as a pile-on, like you said, a Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
For her to maintain a force field on the Hulk took all her concentration. They do the bit how she's there and she's sweating and struggling as he's like freaking out, trying to break the the lack of air from the bubble. I would say she could not take on the Hulk and Captain Marvel at the same time.
Well, wouldn't she have to mostly defend herself from the Hulk? Because he'd be pummeling her. So she'd have to have like a force field up.
She'd have a force field up, but the force field can only take so much of a pounding.
That's what I mean.
So, but that's what I mean. Like, she would have to concentrate so much to keep the Hulk at bay. Captain Marvel could just clock her. So I will agree. Now we're in a 3-way Royal Rumble. I would say Susie goes out as well.
Yeah, and again, I love Sue Storm.
Me too.
She's my favorite FF character, but I think the Hulk needs to go forward and Captain Marvel needs to go forward.
Well, like I said, in a Royal Rumble situation, the Hulk is used to, he's just rage personified, and he's used to dealing with large numbers of foes. So I don't think that he would concentrate too much. He would grab Batman and at least start whacking the other two with Batman. Batman by the ankle and just boom, boom, and then when Batman's done, toss Batman out of the ring. And then
that's like that Avengers cartoon when he grabbed the thing and used him as a club.
Yes. It it would be the same thing. He would get a hold of one of them, and like I said, he would probably beat the other ones with that character he has in his hand. Now, Captain Marvel, and the Hulk. Like I said, that three-way has to be knocked down to two to really get down to it. And I would say at the end it would be Captain Marvel and the Hulk.
Yeah, me too.
Now,
we're just leaving it at that, though. No, I mean, two people have to go forward, so you don't even have to discuss that.
Okay.
They might meet each other down the road.
Okay. Let's hope they don't.
All right, so next week we're going to go
the Superman, Batman window.
Yeah, so next week what we're going to do is we're going to have the winners of this 32. I guess it was 16 versus the 16 of the previous 32 that we had, and we'll have them go against each other.
We got to post a bracket somewhere.
I know we should. I got enough on my plate. Doing the video and the audio and whatever the hell else. All right, let's just get to some listener email and then we'll just wrap it up.
Did you find a listener mail jingle or something yet?
Yeah, I did actually.
Let's go viewer mail. Without a fail, it's viewer mail. And thank you for your email, Dan.
That's true. Do you want to read that actually?
Well, most of it was, like, I had a question like
that.
that. Thank you. So
okay, that's right. Yeah, it was just
appreciate the email. Thank you for the kind words. Let's go to the next letter, Joe.
And by the way, it was in his spam, Dan.
Yeah, for some reason, if an email gets bounced through another server to mine, in this case, going from you to WDWNT to Comcast, it kind of bounces and it ended up in my spam, but I didn't find it, so I know to look for them.
All right, that's
going
good.
forward.
Okay, so Andrew would like to know, in the comics, how does Wanda find out that she is the Scarlet Witch? Is it different than what was in WandaVision? Was Agatha Harkness involved at all?
Not really. She showed up in like an early issue of the Avengers, and she was already calling herself the Scarlet Witch. At some point, like in the early teens, the Avengers split up. So the Avengers became Cap's Kooky Quartet, as they've been called. The Avengers became Captain America, Hawkeye, who was always arguing with him, Wanda, and Pietro. Those four were the Avengers.
Those weren't the West Coast Avengers?
No, they were the Avengers. The actual Avengers split up somewhere in the teen issues. So Iron Man's like, I got my own stuff to do. Thor's like, I'm going to Asgard. Ant-Man was going to hold the Wasp's purse as she was shopping or something. And Cap was left all by himself in the Avengers Mansion. So he kind of put out the call to see who would join, and they showed up. But she was already calling herself the Scarlet Witch.
But there were more members than just the four.
No, it was only the four of them for a little while. And then Hercules joined them. And then Hank Pym came back. I think the Wasp came back shortly afterwards. But for a while, there were only the four of them.
Well, no, I mean, I remember, I guess I'm thinking of the West Coast Avengers. It was Vision, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye.
Oh, that was further. Didn't happen until like the 80s. But when Wanda showed up, it was still the 60s, and she was still calling herself the Scarlet Witch well before Agatha Harkness came along, well before the Darkhold was ever mentioned. That's all stuff that has been added through the years as they gave her more sorceress abilities, in addition to her probability altering abilities.
So that's like you had said this before, is that was her main thing, was being able to calculate probability,
to manipulate probabilities.
Manipulate probability.
That, the odds of a piano falling and dropping on somebody are 1,000,000 to 1. Well, she's able to manipulate it where it's 1 out of 2, and it very well could happen. So she was able to do that. I'll see if I can find a panel of it for you, because I really like the way Byrne explained it, one of the West Coast Avengers. But they've moved her a bit away from that to being a witch herself. But that came later on down the line. She, I think when she was beginning, she still, almost like she had in the Age of Ultron when she came up, those weird kooky powers to move things, and her powers were what the story needed them to be.
Oh, okay.
So, like I said, she's a tough character to get a hold of. And I guess it's easier to work with her if you say, okay, she's a witch. She casts spells like Doctor Strange. That's an easier concept to work with than how her mutant abilities have been explained.
No, I like her better as a witch than the whole probability thing.
Well, it gives her, I think they tried to tie that probability manipulation into the chaos magic. So I think that's where the link comes with the magical spells, how they might have moved her towards that.
And like you, I got my first dose of the Scarlet Witch 3, The Avengers. That's how I basically knew her. And I guess it had to be in the 70s that Vision and Scarlet Witch were on the Avengers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to me, they were almost always a couple during that time. I mean, it probably came afterwards, but they just seemed like...
Well, they've gotten together. They've broken up.
Yeah.
All sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, for example, here, when the Vision came back as the white version in the comic, they were playing him as cold, stoic, unemotional, and machine. And then eventually he started to become more and more in touch with his memories. And for a while, he was still pretending to be cold and machine-like, but he wasn't. And, eventually she found out, and she's like, hello, why didn't you tell me? So they had that little drama going for a while. So, but they've broken up and gotten together numerous times.
Okay. All right.
Doers.
All right, let's wrap this one up. So, Jack, can you tell everyone?
Thank you for your question, Andrew.
He can't answer you, but can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can always send me an email at jackm@wdwnt.com, and I know where to look for it now.
That's good. Yeah, and you can send me a friend request on Facebook, or you can send me an email at joe@wdwnt.com. I usually get them. Also, if you like our show and enjoy other WDWNT podcasts and would like to become a Patreon supporter, please visit WDWNT's Patreon page at www.patreon.com/WDWNT and check out Walt Disney World News Today, as well as Universal Parks News Today for all your Disney and Universal Parks news, and Disney Universal news too. Also, please visit the Carousel of Products, where there's a ton of fun WDWNT merchandise on sale. And finally, please like and subscribe to the WDW Entertainment channel on YouTube, where you can find Nerd Alert and other WDWNT original programming available there. Man, you didn't interrupt once, Jack. What the hell?
I'm giving you a break here to do your thing, interrupt.
Yeah, I'm tired too.
You
I'm
can always
gonna
buy the incredible Flexi pen. Look, it almost seems like it bends, like it's rubber, but if you stop, it's solid.
All right. All right. So with that, this will be the end of WDWNT Nerd Alert Season 7, Episode 8. So until next time, see ya.
Good night, all, and be good to each other.